Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Stasia Bliss. This is where we talk about Kundalini and awakenings and the management of this very powerful source of our life. Welcome. I'm so happy you're here. This channel is full of resources for you. Again, take whatever resonates, leave the rest behind. There are practices, there are techniques. We're chatting about all the different aspects of this journey, and today I wanted to address what is Tantra. So I've talked about this a little bit before. I have some articles out on basmati.com, one of which is dedicated to looking at Tantra a little bit closer, and I've mentioned it in some other videos, but I thought I'd dedicate this video to it because somebody asked me on another video about it. So in the West, this is thought to be a sexual practice, and that's just one very small portion. Just like yoga is not just postures, right? Yoga is like a huge body of wisdom. It's a state of mind. It's an essence of being in alignment, in harmony with your whole nature, right? The yoking, the union. It's not just the postures. The postures are one way or one method or one dot in this giant thing. Same, the sexual piece with Tantra is just one very small aspect. Tantra actually means to liberate, to unchain, to unbound, and to liberate the mind. So there are different practices. A little rabbit just came onto the fence here. There's different tantric practices that assist us in this, like Yoga Nidra. Yoga Nidra is a tantric practice in that it aids us in liberating the mind from previous constructions or constructs or blockages or patterns that keep us in a limited state of being. Mantra is a liberating practice of Tantra that with this repetition of sound helps us break through mental limitations. Like there's the rabbit, you can see on the fence. Yantra, so the practice of looking at this shape to the bindu, to the middle point, it allows the mind to have some constructs within which to liberate itself. So it's a tool for liberating the mind. There are different parts of Tantra. Some are more, we'll say the right-handed path and the left-handed path. Left-handed path would be more like Agori Tantra. These are using things like, it goes really extreme here, so it could be using like death or like extreme taboo things in order to help liberate, and those may be considered like the faster way, but you also have to have a very disciplined mind and a very pure heart in order to not make those things debaucherous. So there is a risk in going that way, and that can include the sexual path, because it's a fine line between like all going balls to the wall, let's say, unabashed in that realm, and not getting mentally tied around just the physical pleasure, and actually being able to use it as a pathway for accessing divine connection and liberating from the previous constructs of the old paradigm around sexuality. So it's kind of like a teeter-totter, a fine line to get you into the other way to actually be tantric about it and not just be like pretending, right? So tantric practices are generally very, let's say, simple and to the point. So they're going to be like repeating mantra. So repeating mantra like Om, or specifically mantras related to, say, a chakra that you're wanting to open or work with or regulate, like your first chakra. The seed syllable for that is Lam, 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 Lam. And I have a whole 6-month mantra course. If you really want to get into all of this stuff, you can send me a message and ask about accessing that. But there are specific sounds that like help us open up and become a more fluid instrument of the divine and release the mental constructs that have kept us bound. So Tantra is like an unbinding. Yoga is a unification. Tantra is a mental unbinding. And it can be a tricky path because you do have to, let's say, have a sound mind. A sound mind. So there are different approaches in this tantric way. Mantra is the approach that is the more bhakti path, okay? Yoga and Sanskrit outlines various different paths through which you can access self-realization or the management of your life force energy, this raising of Shakti, Kundalini Shakti, and managing it in the body, okay? So there's different paths based on what kind of a person you are, right? So Bhakti is a devotional path. So not everybody's going to be super mental, so you can still practice Tantra while being a Bhakti, while using devotional means. So that could be like singing bhajans, chanting mantras, you know, creating altars, keeping an altar. I do have an article on keeping altars on basmati.com also. And altar keeping is a very alive practice if you know what's going on there. Maybe I'll go fully into that in another video. But that's tantric, and that's more bhakti style or devotional style, okay? Then you have more like the jnani yoga approach. Jnani refers to knowledge. It refers to wanting to know about oneself, okay? So Tantra can be jnani, practiced as a jnani yoga, when you are, say, asking yourself questions and basically like learning all the components of spiritual mechanics of the body. Like you're understanding the spinal channels, you're understanding what each chakra is to do. You comprehend the sacred marriage between right and left, the Shiva and Shakti, and you are seeking to do that in yourself through shadow integration and stuff. Would be tantric practices that are jnani, for the jnani yogi, the one who needs to know. Some people need to know more than others need to know. Then you have the hatha yogi. Hatha, sun and the moon, is referring to that integration of these poles in the body. And you might say hatha yoga and kundalini yoga are different, but hatha leads to kundalini yoga because it's very much in the body. And it's very much about body control and body mastery. And kundalini yoga is like the next layer of this, where now you're controlling the breath in the spine. You are visualizing it. This is part of the tantric part. You're visualizing, using your mind to visualize the opening of the spinal centers, the movement of the breath through the spine. You are understanding the contraction of the bandha locks, the 3 locks in the spine, and how to navigate that life force energy up and store it in certain places so your body's not overwhelmed by it. This is hatha kundalini. It's tantric. Another path is karma yogi. To be a karma yogi, you are in service. You are in service to the divine. You can use intimacy to be in service if you are engaging with people on an intimate level, but you're doing it as an act of service. You're loving them in service to their greater good. I know a lot of women that have done this, myself included, where the partner is not necessarily the partner for long term, but you can love this about them. It's also an initiation for the woman too, or whoever knows that they're being the initiator, initiating someone into a higher level of self-love through intimacy. This is karma yoga because you realize you're not going to receive the benefits of this practice fully, except, I mean, you might enjoy it, but in the long run, this person's going to go and be with someone else. That is a tantric initiation practice. That's a karma yogi, right? Karma yoga. You're not desiring the results of this. You're just loving and helping this person come into self-love, right? You're loving this person along their path. So let's also say, well, of course, you can be a mantra yogi. You can just practice mantra. That's tantric, where you're just singing chants. Let's see. Tantra is where you identify, let's get off of the different paths for a minute. It's where you identify your blocks and you seek to remove them. So you may be a tantrika and you don't even realize it. Like, you are doing that work. You are liberating yourself. It doesn't mean you have to do a specific practice. I mean, you are doing specific practices. It doesn't mean you have to do a different other practice to be doing Tantra. Tantric is just aware that what they're doing, I have to speak really loud because of the planes and the fountain, what you're doing is an act of liberating yourself. So you have to be aware that you are in the process of liberation through breaking down this societal construct or this relational construct or this construct about your body and your health or the way you thought it could be. When you're doing this, you are a tantric or a tantrika. So it's a little bit more broad than some think, and it is part of the trifecta of the Indian sciences or the Eastern sciences of Ayurveda for the body, yoga for the spirit, and Tantra for the mind, healing mind, body, and spirit. So they do work together, and one supports the other. So Ayurveda is going to be like good self-care practices and eating practices and understanding of the cycles of reality and which foods and temperature conditions and emotional states and so forth benefit you and are in alignment with the constitution that you were born with, and like working to keep that elemental balance. That's the Ayurveda, that's the physical stuff. Tantra is acknowledging your physical makeup and the elemental balance and realizing where your old programming has disallowed you from your evolutionary process toward enlightenment or toward self-realization, and going through and undoing some of those while still honoring this elemental force in your body. So Tantra is going to acknowledge the various opening and closing states of the chakras, okay, the purging, the elements that the chakras are resonating with. Tantra is concerned with how this is working, right? I consider myself largely a tantric because I like to know how things work. You could be doing yoga and receiving the spiritual benefits of this union, this alignment, and I did that for many, many years before I truly understood what was going on, before the tantrika in me activated. So yoga is like bringing your physical in alignment, bringing your breath in alignment, like stilling your mind. Stilling your mind. Tantra, you're mastering your mind. So I hope this is helpful. I could break this down in a lot of ways. I'm outside and it's a beautiful day. I'm happy to be here with you. And yeah, if you have any questions that you want us to talk about in these videos, please leave your comments below, send me an email. If you want to have a private session, visit me on my website. If you enjoyed this video and you got something out of it, just give me a thumbs up so I know. And I do shorts now on all the longer videos, so those seem to be doing really well. They're just like a little peek into these longer videos. So yeah, let me know if there's something that we're not talking about that you'd like to talk about, and I'll see you back here again tomorrow. I haven't been doing very well tying the planetary influences this week. I really have had a lot going on. I've been seeing a lot of you, so it's been really nice to connect and have those moments of healing and inspiration. So I'm seeing you right now on Friday, so if you're not watching this on Friday, then Friday energy is still touching you, still giving you a big, wet, sloppy kiss from Venus, the queen of the day. So let your heart be nourished no matter what day you're watching this, and I will catch you soon. I love you, and namaste.